Hello and welcome to Public Forum Debate Academy. Here we are going to cover one contention idea for the cryptocurrency topic and cover refutations to the argument as well as defending that argument, in other words, responding to responses. Just a heads up, we will be talking about human trafficking and child exploitation. But before I begin, we have a 500-page evidence file in the description linked below, so if you're interested in that, and specifically the cryptocurrency topic, please consider reading it. The evidence is completely free. We're opening it to anyone. Now let's cover the contention, which is on human trafficking. We would say that by increasing regulation, you can mitigate the human trafficking market. Right now, there's a $650 billion human trafficking market, and the large majority of this illicit economy is conducted online. And human traffickers are using cryptocurrency to traffic people. The lack of transparency enables the black market to function, and until cryptocurrencies are held accountable, they will continue to act as a conduit in the online black market. In fact, chain analysis found that in 2018, the use of cryptocurrencies for child exploitation increased by 212%, and the research attributed these yearly increases to rising adoption for cryptocurrency rather than increased demand for human trafficking. In another example, Cunningham in 2021 finds that Dark Scandals, a dark web website, advertised explicit material which contained approximately 2,000 videos and images, and that website received approximately 1,650 deposits, totaling a lot of money. We would say that by increasing regulation, you can solve for this issue. However, Redfern in 2021 states that a current lack of understanding about what cryptocurrency is and what its use in exploitation looks like leads current anti-trafficking investigators in the US to reject cases or miss crucial pieces of evidence. The impact is human trafficking because there are 199,000 human trafficking incidents in the US each year, according to the National Human Trafficking Hotline in 2021. According to Naheem in 2021, regulation on exchanges, documentation, and investments in detection technologies that allow for identification of trafficking will mitigate the human trafficking market. For example, there was a tool developed by NYU and other universities that found an 89% true positive rate for identifying human traffickers who are using cryptocurrencies. And that evidence is linked in the evidence file. Now, let's go to the con side. How would we refute the human trafficking contention? They say that basically more regulation would mitigate crime. First, we would say that regulation is actually already working, because according to Cunningham in 2021, the US Department of Justice has already indicted and arrested people. It in fact arrested 337 site users in the US and 11 other countries, proving that regulation is already effective. Second, we would say that more regulation would just cause illegal activity to shift to other areas. In fact, senior fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, John Berlau, in 2017, states that regulation would drive cryptocurrency developers and investors offshore because of the tremendous compliance costs and the harms to data security. So crime, it could be argued, would just happen outside the United States. Furthermore, Berlau finds that only a tiny minority of cryptocurrency transactions involve illicit purposes. A couple more responses are that, according to US Senate member Toomey in 2021, regulation would just push bad actors to utilize methods that do not interface with financial institutions, just making it harder to track criminal trade. So regulation would actually be a disadvantage. Then, according to Neithammer in 2020, even if you increase regulation on cryptocurrencies, these criminals can always use cash. In fact, human traffickers open up accounts in banks and credit cards under a victim's name, and they use these banks and money services to funnel money. Finally, chain analysis in 2020 states that only 0.34% of transactions are illicit in nature, and that this number has been falling over time. Now, how would we defend the human trafficking contention against these responses? Their first response is that current regulations work. However, that own Cunningham evidence states that US law enforcement looked into Bitcoin accounts and found that out of 5 accounts, 4 of them had incomplete information that was reported, which means that people aren't actually actively reporting right now. What we would say is that we need to actually regulate cryptocurrency platforms so money flows are stopped and they don't go to human traffickers. The opponents also bring up the evidence that criminals could move offshore. However, Meltzer in 2020 of the Brookings Institution states the US is a driving international force, which implies that US regulation could have an international effect and encourage other countries to crack down on human trafficking and the illegal cryptocurrency black market. More so, just because some criminals move overseas does not mean we should ignore the benefits. For example, even if some criminals move overseas, you could still catch some other human traffickers and arrest them. They also say that criminals can switch back to cash. One, the existing bank system already has a lot of regulation, for example, anti-money laundering legislation that allows the US government to find these transactions and these human traffickers. However, the cryptocurrency sphere is not as regulated, which is why we would argue for more regulation to track these human traffickers. Then, they say that only a few transactions are illegal. However, Foley from Oxford University states that 44% of Bitcoin transactions are associated with illegal activity, and you should prefer this evidence because it conducts a regression analysis over the past 10 years, so it has more consistent findings. In contrast, their own evidence about how 0.34% of transactions are illicit in nature concedes that these reports do not account for a significant figure of dark crime, which has either not been detected or not been reported so far. Thank you for watching this argument analysis. You can subscribe to get more updates on the January topic, and please check out the evidence file. I encourage everyone to do so. Thank you so much.